Hi, kindergarten. Today's lesson is about learning about squares. So here I have a square, and it's a type of rectangle. So rectangle is really the shape you want to memorize because you're going to see rectangles a lot more often in the world around us than you will see squares. So as a reminder, a rectangle might look like this. It has 4 sides, 4 corners or vertices, and it has 4 right angles. So when you look at the side, you can picture a square or a box or a rectangle. It's sitting like a mini one right inside there. Okay, it's a 90-degree angle. A square has these same attributes because it is a type of rectangle. Now this picture is special because every side is the same length. So here you see in a rectangle, 2 sides can be long and 2 can be short. They can be any size as long as those other things are correct, right? That there's 4 of them and they're at the right angles. But a square is the specific type where every single side is exactly the same. And you can see that my printed square is a little bit bigger than my orange square. And they can be any size. They just need to be equal sides. So again, I'll show you that here. So a rectangle could be like that. Could draw one like this. You could even draw a rectangle like this. That's a rectangle, okay? And now I wish my sides were straighter, but when you do it with your hand, you get a little off, huh? And you see that no matter which way, there's always these right angles, like these little boxes in the corners. And there's always the 4 sides on all of them. And there's always 4 corners or vertices. Okay, so those are the rectangles. But when we do a square, I'll do that in a different color. So when we do a square, every side needs to be the same distance. And I could even measure it, right? So you could use some type of measuring tool to make sure that every side, you know what I'm going to use as my measuring? I'm going to use my cap. I'll go the length of the cap, and then this way, I'm going to start on one side and go along the length of the cap. And then make sure, yep, that should match up too. And now I have a square. So you see how perfectly all the sides are the same length. So that's what makes a square different from a rectangle. All right. Next, we get to read our book about square. So we read our book about triangle, and we saw square was featured in his book. Well, today we get to read a book about square. And this one was actually given to me by a student, so you'll see on the inside, he wrote his name before he gave it to me. So I always knew who I got it from. Very sweet. Hi, Square. Square by Mark Barnett and John Klassen. This is Square. This is Square's secret cave. He pushes the block up and out of the cave. Push. Ooh, I see hidden squares that go into the hillside here, huh? He brings the block to the pile at the top of the hill. This is his work. One day, while Square is doing his work, Circle floated by. Ooh, hi, Circle. Square, said Circle, you are a genius. I did not know you were a sculptor. Ah, yes, said Square. What is a sculptor? A sculptor shapes blocks into art, said Circle. Ah, yes, said Square. I see what you mean. But he did not really see what she meant. This is a wonderful sculpture, said Circle. It looks just like you. Square looked at his block. Yes, I suppose it is wonderful. Now, said Circle, you must do one of me. Oh, said Square. I will come back for it tomorrow. Goodbye, genius. Circle, said Square. I think I should tell you something. but she was already gone. Oh, dear, 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 said Square. He studied the block. I have to make this block look like Circle, he said. Circle is perfect, so I must make this perfect. Square got to work shaping the block. Oh, crumbs, said Square. This is not perfect. Oh, dirt, said Square. This is much worse. And he went back to work. He worked and worked and worked and worked. Oh, I can see his eyes. He's freaking out. He's in the rain. He's working so hard. Ah! Cried Square. He had carved the whole block away. There was nothing left. He was surrounded by rubble. Whatever is the opposite of perfect, that's what this is. Oh, I didn't do Square's voice. Whatever the opposite of perfect, that's what this is. I must stay up all night and figure this out. Square fell asleep. The next morning, Square woke up wet. He despaired. What have I done? What have I done? I push blocks. I do not shape them. I am not a genius. Hello, genius, said Circle. I'm early. Oh, dear, whispered Square. Are you finished? Asked Circle. Oh, yes, said Square. I'm finished. Circle peered down. Oh, my, she said. It was beautiful. It was beguiling. It is perfect, said Circle. It is? Asked Square. Yes, said Circle. You are a genius, said Circle. But was he really? What do you guys think? So this is a great book because it leads us from learning about rectangles and squares into learning about circles. So let's go back and look at his sculpture of Circle again. And let's think about why Circle thinks that it might be perfect. So look at what he made here. Why do you think it's a perfect sculpture of Circle? Yeah, it's a lot of different reasons you might think. I want to go back to another thing to think about too, is when he was building it. He's trying to use a block to make a circle. Think of why that might be challenging. Why that might be really hard to make a circle out of a block. And so maybe he came up with a way, without even realizing it, for him to reflect Circle's shape. Yeah. So I know personally, hopefully you guys came up with some of the same ideas or maybe even different ones than I have, but I'm going to share with you my thoughts. So one is that because it's like a hole that was made where he was standing to make the block, now the water ended up pooled inside this shape, and then all of the parts of the rock that he carved off are around him. And so there's two circles. There's the circle of smaller rocks that make a circle shape, and then also inside the water fell into that circle, making a pool. And so when Circle goes and floats over it, Circle can see themselves in the pool. So I thought that was really cool in that it's a more abstract way of making that shape, right? Because you can't make a circle, for example, it's really hard to make a circle or a sphere out of paper. And we'll talk about that more next week when we talk about 3D shapes. And that's why it was so hard to make a block, right? Using block to make a circle. So I think it's a really beautiful way and a very artistic way of showing what a circle could look like. All right, so for your math activities to go along with our square and little introduction to circle is the fact that because a circle is so hard to make is because a circle is made out of curves. So I have a sort for you to work on here, and it says shapes with a curve and shapes without a curve. And you're given a page, ta-da, of shapes, and you're going to cut them out. And you see I already cut out some of them that you're going to help me do. Now when you cut them out, there are these dotted lines you can go along, but as long as you just don't cut the actual shape, you're good. I don't need all that extra paper. So I'm just going to kind of bubble cut each shape. I don't need the extra so much. There we go. All right, these are my scraps. I'm going to put them in my scrap pile that I'll put in the recycling later. And now here are some shapes. So I have to think, what is a curve? And remember, we talked about how squares have straight sides. So do squares have curves? No, yeah. So does this square have a curve? No. So I would put it without a curve on this side. Okay. Now circle does have curves. This almost looks like a circle, especially if I cover up that part, huh? See how it's round along the edge? The whole edge is round. So that is what we call a curve. Now it also has straight lines here, this shape. Huh? It looks like a pizza with a slice taken out, huh? Or a pie with a slice taken out. So this one does have a curve. It has a big curve all the way around. So I'm going to sort that over here. All right. I have 2 more shapes to do right now. You guys have more on your sheet, but I'm just going to do the first 4 with you. So here I see a straight line, and a curved line. Looks like an ice cream cone. And then I'll just be left with a cone, huh? All right. Well, that has a curve, so I better put it with the curves. This one, does it have a curve? I see straight, 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 straight. It has 4 sides, but not the right angle, so it's not a rectangle or a square. It's just it actually does have a name. It's called a trapezoid. But you can call it a polygon, because if you don't know what a shape is, if you don't know the name of it, you can always call shapes polygons. That's the math word for shape. So I'm going to put that here. And then you can keep going with the rest of them and make sure you sort them all into your sort. So that's a great way to relate our shapes with curves and without a curve. All right, our next activity is to think about real objects that we can find in the world that have these shapes. So for example, you're going to look at these real things you might see in the world. This one is maybe a symbol of a fire. I'm not sure what it is, but it looks like a traffic symbol of some sort. Maybe there's gas or smoke coming up out of like a grate or something like that. I'm not sure what that symbol is, but this one we know is an American flag. This one looks like a chessboard or a checkers board. This one is what's called a color wheel. So it shows all the different colors, but it's in black and white because I didn't want to waste my color ink. But this would have all the colors. You can color it if you want to. And then we have a clock. So we have to draw a line from the shape to its matching object. So you're going to look at these shapes and draw a line to whatever one matches them. So this shape reminds me of what? Yeah, it has 3 straight lines, 3 vertices. And so does this one, because this one's a triangle. So I'm going to draw a line from the triangle to the traffic sign, because they both are triangles. See that? All right, now this one, a checkerboard, I know it's equal sides because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mini squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mini squares. So every side has 8. So it must be 8 equal sides. Equal sides that are all 8 squares. And this one looks like it's equal, like a square. So I'm going to match those 2 squares up. Okay. Now there's a shape on here I haven't talked about yet. It's called a hexagon, and it has 6 sides. That's all I need to know about a hexagon right now, is that it has 6 sides. So match it up with the one it goes to, okay? All right, I didn't finish it. You got to finish it on your own. And the last one we have today is a shape hunt that you can do at home. So this is a shape hunt where first you can label each shape if you want a challenge. So for example, I see a triangle. So I'm going to write triangle next to it. You could also just write a T for triangle if you want to keep it simple. Circle is actually spelled with a C. So I'm going to write circles right next to both of these because these are both circles. This is a special circle shape. It's a clock, huh? So you could find a clock in your home to match this one. Maybe this one you'd find a game board that's also a square shape. Maybe you find a food like a piece of pie or a pizza that looks like this. Is this one a triangle? It looks a little bit like a triangle, but not quite because it has that curved line here. And a real triangle, right, has 3 straight sides. So look for a shape that looks like this one with 1 curved line and 2 straight. Okay, and see if you can find a flag in your home or just a rectangle if you can't find a flag. Okay, and then this one is our hexagon. And then this one, oh, that one, you guys know what that is. That's a heart. You could call this one a diamond. The fancy shape name for this one is rhombus, if you wanted to use that one, rhombus. And then I bet you guys know what these ones are. Okay, so I'm going to leave some of you for you. And go around your home and see if you can find them all. Maybe you find them on a walk. You don't have to find them just inside. I see shapes all the time when I'm walking on the sidewalk or I'm looking at fences and other things. I can find shapes a lot. So look and see how many you can find when you're on a walk or maybe around your home. All right, I hope you had fun learning about square and reading about him today. And I'm excited to teach you about circles and hexagons next. Bye, friends.